Ebuy gum. Now if you're thinking about some long lost treasure or seeking some direction about how to feel better by splurging your spondulix on all manner of kit without considering the
danger,
simply to impress online strangers, then this little lot might be for you, because at least it might give a rough idea of what to do with a daft number of inebriated bids on stuff you salivated over as kids, or you're dreaming of giving some rare vinyl a whirl on that lesser known prog number with vertiginous swirl. Well, fear not, we've got the lot, so take heed. And there's a world full of essential stuff you don't need, shelling out ridiculous dough when you know you shouldn't, on some Beatles LP with doll parts and meat all over front. And then it turns out to be a bootleg, you're gullible. Now then, so according to the seller blurb here, yon fella is, quote, ultra rare, unquote. But is he? Is it all? Such exciting, dynamic, hyperbolic terms are tossed about willy-nilly, aren't they, in the hope of no-note numpties chucking a few bob down, on off chance they might get a legit bargain. This ultra-rare business must have caused a little bit of interest, though, in this Power of the Force Gurinden, as the end price ran to 56 bids. But I never knew he were called that, did you? He's the informant stroke grass, innit? Who puts in a bad word to stormtroopers outside at Cantina. Which were a shame, really, because I always thought he looked smart, coming off like some kind of short-sighted elephant monk, or like, you know, when Banana Splits was still a bit dangerous. Couldn't have been that ultra rare, mind, as he only ended up fetching £9.50. Ultra rare indeed. Now this is a nice thing, isn't it? Barely an action figure if you want to clutch at straws, but he popped up under said keywords, so take it to the eBay old bill if it bothers you that much. You big baby. A Godzilla piece from late 70s is this, part of the Shogun Warriors line, as its very tasty box will have it. These days often has its extendable tongue, flame, whatever, and or its fireable fist missing, does this, and clearly has both in the box here that saw 58 bids. I've always fancied one of these, but never really saw one cheap enough, and this were no different for a cheapskate such as I, as it fetched €555, which is what, currently about 480 quid ish. Lovely though, ain't he, this lad? Star Wars again already? I know. I'm a right lazy get, aren't I? Still, I thought it better to make that nice and clear now, rather than rub your nose in it once you've talked your sense into trying to give myself benefit of doubt. Because I'm not with it. And for what it's worth, this ain't the last Star Wars bit in list either. Do you know what I mean? See previous answer. I'm not mega au fait with this character, I must say, though I understand she's somewhat of a big cheese in them there Clone Wars doodahs, and this can't have been out that long, so why were the 60 bids here? I'm sure there'll be more than a few supercilious nerks out there might have a few ideas, but for the rest of us, surely we can't be talking much more than that jam jar grass fella, can we? A couple back. What did he fetch? Just short of a tenner. Well, yon lass came out at £291, no less. So put that in your complacent pipe and smake it. Why nearly 300 baht though for this? Why? Now here comes a Kiff little fella, eh? My multilingual magic in full effect tells me that this is le dime, which, if my time in European sweet shops has taught me anything at all, dime means dime, doesn't it? Dime bar styles. Or it would, if I'd not clocked the feature film that this is based on from a year or two back, which Commode or whoever reckoned translated as deerskin, which I guess makes a bit more sense, what we yon lads boss jerking and that. No wonder it saw 64 bids, is it? Proper nice kit bash job on some old Fisher Price adventure person to fettle some Kiff new clobber. Suck all the just for men out of his little beard, and here we are, man. Good stuff. And it'd have to be an all. Little George's here, cop for €118, which is pretty much bang on £100 in local money, isn't it? Sound. Or as our Gallic pals might have it, le deuxième rue à gauche. Yeah, I know more Star Wars in it, but I did warn you, didn't I? Did warn you. But we're into it proper kit now, aren't we, so butting it, eh? It's a little belter, ain't it, this? Always was, always will be. Pin Yoda, innit, man? With 65 bids, no less. Card looks slightly dinged, but it's still nice and tidy. Bit of gloss scrape in top corner where chances are some 1984 dimwit reckoned he could peel off the 99p sticker after he got a doozy deal down Zodiac. So that'll teach him, won't it? Fair return on his investment then, as a small crack on bubble. Don't stop this SOG piece pulling £340, which the buyer could well get it AFA'd. Chuck it back up for 600 or 700 or so, eh? Don't give them ideas, man. And again, if this is an action figure based on searchings, then he's a big lad, isn't he? Look how he towers over this fancy table thing. Smart. Not like setting its stall out proper, is there, when you like selling expensive toys and that? Sound. Big as them chairs at back, ain't it? Unless that's down to perspective. Or maybe it's a doll's house or something. Leave it out. Either way, 71 bids on this bad boy, coming in at €223, which is knocking on 200 notes in local denominations, innit? Grendizer, is he called, this fella? Grendizer? Not my forte either, clearly. Pretty smart though, isn't it? I like these big 70s robots, man. Anyone who don't must be puddled or something. So on to a fancy flash at 4 then. Hot Toys number for all them looking for photorealistic action man vibes. The kind of thing you might dream about having as a kid, but then you balk at the price as a grown up because of the other stuff competing for your meagre finances. Stuff like food and shoes and whatnot. Must be more than a few cats with daft door left going spare though, as this fine fella fetched all of 77 bids on its way to flogging for €291. Look at all lightning coming off him though, eh? He must be going well fast, man. Well flipping fast. And into top 3 here now, we shift from one of the greatest goodies to one of the boss baddies with a fancy version of Skeletor. known as laser lights. Is it laser light? Lights? Light? Either or, innit? I'm not particularly down with most Masters of the Universe kit, but yon lad looks like he's been out on Razzle for a few days, doesn't it? Trap Joe's stag do. Must have got out of hand or whatever. Good working order though, seemingly, so must be made of stern stuff. And a tough piece and all is this, which saw no less than 97 bids, taking right up to €341. 300 batish when you're writing it up. Ecky peck, man. Still got it, Auntie Skellers. Which takes us from a franchise I know very little about to a franchise that I know absolutely naught about. Or barely. Seen the odd piece from this line in Pound Stretcher about 15 years ago, maybe. Then were he like in an animated advertisement selling cream cheese or something? Is that right? I dream that. Something like that, man, wasn't it? So, have I been missing something here? Must have been, cause it's not every toy line that gets a side order of Italian robots, is it? Which is a shame, really, when I put it like that. First and on list to get triple-digit bids, though, is this, with 102 bids at finish, which took the selling price to €401. Yowzers. Hands up, man, I'd have walked straight past this without blinking if I saw it languishing in some Milanese home bargains style gaff. But I'd be losing out, wouldn't I? Clearly. And then number one is this bad lad. And again, never got into G.I. Joe as a kid. Few early Action Force things with SAS and whatnot, but G.I. Joe, no. But one can only assume that there's something pretty special about this here sneak peek. Seller don't give too much away though, simply stating, quote, 100% original items, brackets, except Mike, I think it's a repro, close brackets, thumbs and crotch okay, unquote. Which gets right to art at things, doesn't it? Fair play to him. Fair play to the little fella, I guess. Though there's a couple of things work against him for me, in that for some strange reason he's given himself a hefty crease down front of his denim combat pants, which are always a no-no, weren't it? Whether he were grafting or not. And then his crease backs and all, which seemed to be full of glue for some reason. Not harmed his desirability one notch though, this unconventional trouser approach, and he saw 205 bids, which in total fetched just short of $300, which is $230, $240 currently, bit more perhaps. Hellfire. We're presumably repro Mike, no less. Maybe the fact that his thumbs and crotch are okay give it that extra push, eh? I mean, it would do, wouldn't it?